It's time to have a real convo, a show that brings hope and awareness to those affected by suicide and mental health. Being affected by both, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, Southeast Florida board member Alan Mednick, and children's book author Miranda Kahn breaks the stigma that no one ever feels alone. With the help from influential guests, the Real Convo starts now. Hey everyone, we're back at you on Real Convo. It's Alan Mednick and Miranda Kahn. Today we have some great information again, as always, and obviously a lot of people are cooped up in their homes these days, so it's a little bit more family time, I guess, right, Miranda?
You would know that better than me, or you could say me time. For me, it's more like me. For you, it's like, yeah.
For me, it's getting to know my wife and my son a little bit better these days.
For better or for worse?
For better or worse. There we go. So we have a couple of special guests to start talking about that today, right?
Yeah, because I can get the sense from a lot of people here on social media that they're saying, help me. This was fun for a couple of days, but please help me. So here to help you get through all of it, we want to go ahead and introduce our guest. We have Lisa Concepcion. Maybe you've seen her on Facebook. I love her videos. So I had to reach out to her. She is a LoveQuest dating and relationship expert and coach. Also with us is actually my own personal counselor. And I was embarrassed to do this. I actually had to ask her how to say her last name because I just call her Mindy. But Mindy is a psychotherapist. And say it one more time because I was so working on that Italian accent. Your last name.
Bisignano.
Bisignano. So I want to say Bisignano. But she said, no, that's not what you do. And I was like, but it's so much more fun to say it that way.
You do every language, don't you? You could do every language. You have the accent down.
I can barely speak one, but I am fluent in accents. That's about it. So let's start off with, Alan, your experience. Let's just use you as an example. How are you enjoying this quarantine time?
It is a little bit different for me because I normally do work from home, and my wife is a nurse, so she has been going, obviously, to work, but she has been coming back a lot. It's been a little bit more difficult trying to keep each other's space, mainly because we live in a little bit more of a confined area. We're in a townhouse, and when she comes home, she has to speak to patients, and I'm on the phone doing my insurance business. And we have to respect each other's who's going to talk on the phone type of thing.
And you have a couple dogs, and I think you're outside today, right? Are you sure?
I had to go outside today, right? To, because we have dogs, and also I have a son, and, 17 years old that he's doing his work at school. So, from home. So it's, it's a little challenging. But I do hear a lot of people out there that are starting to get to know each other for the first time, really.
Yeah, they're probably like after 20 years, like, hey, there you are.
Yeah.
Lisa, what advice do you have for people? Because you actually wrote a blog about this on your website.
I did. I wrote a blog about this exact thing. It was just, quick quarantine tips for couples, some do's and don'ts. And I basically said, like, right off this from the jump, you have to decide in advance how you want this to play out. And, day to day, how do you want this day to go?
Right.
What do you want to do today? How can I show up for you? How can you show up for me? How do we run this today as a team? And just really commit to that purpose, because if everybody's siloed and everybody's doing their own thing, then there's a big disconnect in the home. But when everybody's like, look, we're all in this together, we all have our chores, and we all have a stake in how this little company, this little corporation is going to be run for the next however long, then everybody can pull their own weight.
So the interesting part about the whole thing is, obviously I'm at work, I'm doing insurance. I feel when I'm doing my work that my customers are the most important people in the world. And when my wife obviously is doing her nursing, and she's a geriatric nurse, obviously her patients are the most important people in the world, which I get that they should be. But again, we try to keep our boundaries, and you don't think about that. It's tough to get out of that frame of mind that, I got to call this client right now and you got to wait. You got to put your, it's tough to really think about that in the beginning when you're going through it.
Else is what you're saying. I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, it is.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I also offer in the blog is about designating spaces for work and work time. So that person isn't going to barge into the room and think like they have access to you just because you're there. It's like, no, I am working from 8 a.m. until 10, and then I'm going to take a break from 10 to 10:30. So there's a window of you to come at me then. That's fine. And then I'm going to grab water. I'm going to go back into the office until lunchtime, and then we can connect at lunch. And just really, like I said, getting a plan together so that the other person knows when the time is right, that I can reach this, I can have a conversation uninterrupted, and that it's not going to be met with frustration or snippiness, or because think about it, you're in a deal with your clients, right? And then all of a sudden, somebody pokes their head in. It's like, no poking head in. Door is shut. Door is shut. That means no talking to me until 10:30 in the morning when I come out of my cave. And then you better have it succinct, and you better have it written down, and you better be able to tell me exactly what you need, when you need it, how you need it, and done.
That's some good advice.
This is a work environment. This is a work environment that just so happens to be at home.
Mindy, do you want to chime in? I want you to chime in as well, Mindy. What advice? That seems like really good advice right there. This is my personal space.
Yes, and I think that's really important, because you have to also set up a schedule. I was thinking of people having a calendar even, where they write down the time they're going to do their exercise, the time they're going to do, their own personal stuff. And even to have that schedule, like we need personal time, because when you're in the house together all day, you need to have that time for your own self-care. And I think that's really important. So I believe in like scheduling, and that people need to do that so they have a basis for how they're going to live each day. And even for the kids.
I like that you mentioned self-care. And, again, my situation's a little different than a lot of other people. I am fortunate that I could work from home, and that my wife is still able to work right now. But there are a lot of people out there that aren't able to work, and they got all this free time that they're just either watching TV or going back and forth. How would you, what I try to tell people is I want them to keep like as much normalcy as possible, get up and do exercises. But what would you say for people that aren't working?
Well, I think that what it is, so many people have always said, I wish I had more time. Well, now they have a ton of time. So I feel like people could actually go and do some things that they've always wanted to do, like go on and YouTube and look how to play guitar, or look how to, do some things that you've always dreamed of being an artist, or whatever it is, to take this time for personal growth, learning how to be creative, and doing other things that you never find the time to do.
I like that. Yeah, look at it as the glass is half full, not half empty, because you're right, Mindy. I mean, people always say, if I had more time, I'd spend with my, I'd do this for myself. I'd learn this. I'd do this. I'd learn a second language. But they never do it. And now you have it. You have no choice. I mean, right, Lisa? This is your time to really look inward and focus on you and get to know your family again.
Absolutely. I mean, I look at it more, look, I'm an entrepreneur, right? So like if I had 2 months or however long this is going to go to be on my own, I'm going to make a business out of it. I'm going to figure out a way to be of service. And so I'll give you a story, like more than a couple of years ago. This was like almost 15, 17, something like that years ago, where I was in between jobs, meaning I had a severance package from one job, and I was like not supposed to work for 2 months because I couldn't double dip. So I made hunting for my new job, my job, got a job, told them I couldn't start for 2 months. So now I'm hanging out with like money coming, but I'm bored. I'm like, I want to do something. So I started this company where, it was just this word of mouth thing where I was taking kids whose parents didn't want to go school shopping with them, personal shopping. I became a personal shopping for teenagers for a summer in between work. And I made like, I don't know, $4,000 that summer, right? Going to all the malls in New Jersey. And I made all this money, and I used the money to take my husband and I away on vacation. But the point is, it depends on the people, because I understand and I can totally relate to the people who are go-getters, type A individuals, because that's who I coach primarily. And now they're home on a furlough, or they're just in like, limbo land in between projects. They're going to go a little haywire. So for them, you know what? Pick up the book, Think and Grow Rich. Give it a go again.
Love that book. Napoleon Hill.
I love that book too.
Right? It's amazing, right? Go into that. Look at your personal finances. It's a great time to just really assess not only where you are now, but where do you want to be in the next 10 years when this thing is over? And just really look at the inventory of your life. Look at all the buckets of your life. How am I doing with my health? How am I doing with my finances? How am I doing with the house? Are there things around the house that I've neglected that now I can do?
That garage,
there's
garage
always,
for a lot of
yeah,
people right now, that's what they're doing.
Let me tell you something. The life-changing magic of tidying up. Oh, I did that. It is like a purge. Honey, I was going through my closet. I donated stuff. I felt like I was giving back to the world and opening up my closet for the energy space of the sales that I am going to take advantage of when this thing is over. Think about it. Nobody has been able to shop for now almost a month. What's going to happen?
No. My Amazon's still there. Amazon's still
there, of course. Except if you want toilet paper, they're out.
Yeah, but they know Alan very well. He's gotten to know the Amazon delivery people very well. They go to his house maybe a couple times a day. So we talked about couples and families that are kind of quarantined. And then we will get to talk about children a little bit, Mindy, because I want to talk about a little project that you're working on. But let's talk about the singles out there, because we've all already said, we've all seen the memes, right? With people that are married, that the divorce lawyers are just sitting there waiting. So there's been kind of a joke there. But in all seriousness, for people who are single, like myself, and you're living alone, and this can be really I am a type A person, so I'm keeping myself busy, but some people don't know how to do that, and they can get depressed, they can be anxiety ridden. Mindy, I see you nodding your head. Yes. What do you advise to people like that who are literally completely alone?
Well, I'm actually thinking of the people who have a lot of anxiety, and those people, they really need to work on how to relax more, like looking up maybe even some guided meditations, pick out something that they like, listen to it, because they need to relax more. They need to not go into the what ifs, because I find a lot of people I'm talking to through my therapy practice, they're going off on what if this happens, what if that happens. And most of the time, the what ifs never happen. However, in this case, there's no time frame. There's no control. And people are having a problem with that loss of control. And what do they do with that? And that's singles and couples, everybody. But I feel that, learning how to control your anxiety, being able to get to relax more, to do some things that you normally wouldn't do either, like, learning, going online, reading about, how to grow, how to develop yourself. So I think there's a lot of things people can do with their mind, keeping it focused on positive things so they don't go into this, oh my gosh, and catastrophizing everything.
Mm-hmm. Lisa?
So I find that there's this little technique that I learned ages ago that brings me into the present moment, and I share it with my clients all the time, especially to Mindy's point in this timing where we're feeling out of control, and that brings us into a lot of futuristic thinking of the what ifs, right? So one of the things that I do and I encourage people to do is go to my senses. So I say go to your senses, work your way from sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. And it immediately brings you into the present moment. So let's say you just saw a report on the TV, Cuomo or Trump or whoever's on, whatever your deal is, and now you're in freak out land, right? So what you do is you take a breath, you put your hands on your heart, and you say, okay, what do I see right now? I see my dog lying in his bed. Great. What do I hear right now? I hear the sound of the air conditioning unit. Cool. What do I smell right now? Oh, I smell the body lotion that I use. What do I taste right now? Oh, I taste the remnants of the sandwich I just ate. Okay, what do I touch right now? Oh, I can feel my table at my desk. That immediately, just that exercise, it brings you immediately into the present. And when you're in the present moment, it's a different energy from the energy of futuristic thinking. You can't think about the future while being in the present moment at the same time. It's two different energy frequencies.
Yeah,
so it's great. A really cool grounding way. I've actually have done it myself, sometimes waiting for doctor appointments where, you're in that room, you're not in you're very quiet, sometimes they're like, you can't even use your cell phone while you're waiting. You're just sitting there, do. And I just start to look around, like, name 5 things that I see, name 5 things that I hear. And you just go 1, 2, 3 down the 5 senses. And it really brings you into that presence where you're like, okay, I'm okay. I am spinning on a rock in the middle of space and I'm not going to fly off. I am safe. I am good. All is well. And I feel like as far as couples, though, like when it comes to that loneliness and that feeling of loneliness, it is normal. I mean, we are creatures who want connectivity, right? We want connection. So it's just a matter of being kind to yourself and being okay with missing your friends and creating a Zoom call with 4 of your girlfriends and meet online and really look for those people and have those connections that aren't necessarily romantic, but they fill your heart, right? And be really happy for your family and be happy that you have these people that you can just jump on a Zoom call with or a FaceTime with. And it's a great opportunity now to really reconnect with your siblings, with your good friends. And thanks to technology, we're able to do that. So your day can go by pretty quickly when you really look for people.
Yeah, it's amazing because even tonight, it's the holidays and we're going to be doing a Zoom call for Passover. So, so the family is going to be there. But I do want to get back to something that, has come about, unfortunately, because of these situations, or actually it might be fortunate. I'd like to get both of your perspectives on this. Obviously, when you're quarantined, you find out things about people that you might not have known that might have been hidden. And I'm talking about alcohol and substance abuse. And all of a sudden, when someone, now, your spouse or somebody that you're with is at home, you start seeing more of that. Maybe they're drinking more. Maybe you start learning that. What's a good way to approach that? I mean, we see, unfortunately, these things with domestic violence that's going up and possibly,
so glad you brought that
we
up.
don't want to get into that situation where one spouse confronts another. What's a good way to approach that?
What do you think,
Mindy?
Okay, from my perspective, really people have to watch how they communicate during this time, because that's key and essential is what you're saying to the other person that could either provoke or, or de-escalate a situation. So you have to realize that you have to really be careful with your communication. And if you see someone over drinking, you have to, you bring it up, but you have to be very careful as to not provoke them, because domestic violence is an issue that I had on my mind is, in a tight situation like this, things could escalate, or child abuse, whatever. And there's no one even out, that's going to deal with that at this moment. So learning to just walk away, find your own space, have an idea in your head that, if you see someone angry or upset because they were drinking too much, make sure you go and just don't confront at the time, but get away and keep yourself in a distant place in the house. That would be the best recommendation for that.
Yeah, that's good. You have any suggestions, Lisa?
So I'm a little more of the open, honest communication from a place of love and desire to understand the other person. So if I had a spouse, or let's say I'm with my partner and he's here, we're hanging out in this quarantine scene, whatever, and I notice that he's drinking more than usual, I would probably ask out of curiosity, and I would say, babe, are you okay with this whole quarantine thing? Are you freaking out about it too? Because it's a little much, and I just want to check in and see if you're okay. And then, have him hear what he says and say, the reason why I'm bringing that up is, I love you so much. I want to make sure that we're all good and that we're communicating through this and I have your back and that I have your back. And I just noticed that you've been drinking a little more than usual. And I just wanted to make sure that you're okay. Because I know you have a lot of stress with work to try to make work happen while we're home. And I just want to see how you're doing and check in. And then just kind of read the vibe, right? Read the vibe. Like Mindy says, you don't want to be confrontational. You want to be very understanding and supportive. And from that place of openness and curiosity, not blame and judgment, the hope is that he'll say, you know what, I am freaking out a little bit. And, you're right. Or, I'm taking the edge off every day at 5 o'clock. It's just the thing I got to do. And if you're like, all right, then that's cool, and I know it, and I have some kind of understanding, it's not like you're drinking all day, but at 5 o'clock you want to segment from work into, life on your own, and you just want a little cocktail in your deck, or just something to just ease into the night or whatever, then at least we talked about it, and at least it's like, all right, then you know what, I'm gonna have a glass of wine, or let's make that a little ritual of ours. One little cocktail to go from the workday into the little happy hour, a little quarantini happy hour for 2 that we can do at home. But as long as you're both communicating on it, and you know it's a healthy place, and that it isn't rooted in some kind of coping mechanism, then it's look, people are doing what they got to do to feel good, to get by. If it means that you want to have a little glass of rosé to end the day, I'm all for it.
Alan's like, note to self, this could save my marriage. Quarantinis.
Quarantini, put on some music, dance around the living room, make it a happy hour. I'm telling
There you
you.
go. There you
don't
go.
make it a big thing.
But let me ask you, Mindy and Lisa, and I want to start with Mindy, but there's something else that could also be happening right now. And I actually got the idea, Lisa, from watching some of your live your Facebook lives there.
Yeah.
See? I told you I could barely speak one language. There you have it.
You're good.
Proof right there. But Mindy, there are a lot of people that are alone, isolated, depressed. And then kind of out of nowhere, those toxic people in their life start to sprout up again. Mindy, how do people say, no, not going to communicate, not going to message with that person? No. What advice do you have?
Yeah, I know I've had that come up in some of the sessions lately that I've been talking to people about them wanting to reach out to that person who was their most toxic person in their life because they have so much time. They're thinking, and what they're thinking so much about the old relationship, and people tend to remember only the good after something's been done for a while. So I asked them to write down, remember what was bad about that relationship, remember why it was broken. And, when you do that and you write a list of all the negatives that were part of that, it will keep you from going to reach out and remember why that person was toxic. And if you review that and you get that back in your head, it will stop you from having the tendency to go ahead and try to reach out.
Lisa.
So I'm of the mindset of block, delete equals peace. If you remove these people from your phone, if let's say you have a toxic ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, lunatic people, and you end it, you erase them. Access denied. I don't know you on Facebook. You do not follow me on Instagram. We are no more. You're not in my phone. Why? Because when you're in a heightened sense, right now, we're in a heightened level of fight or flight. We're in a very heavy survival mode right now. Do you know how jarring that is when you're just sitting down, chilling, watching some Netflix, and boom, up comes your phone with the little head of your ex? Hi, with the ring, or a text message. You don't want that in your life right now. You want to just be as chill as possible, so that you can make
easier.
some decisions and navigate.
I hear you, Lisa, but I think, you've kind of, and we don't have time to go through it all, but I highly recommend you check out our website and read her.
Yeah, but she is definitely from New Jersey, by the way. I got to tell that.
Yeah.
That is New Jersey all the way. I love it. That
is great advice, but probably easier said than done. What about the people who are like, well, I am really lonely, and what do you say to that person? It's like, I'm not ready to delete.
Well, okay, so obviously there are people out there, if the breakup was recent and it's hard to just end it, meaning cut off all contact, full on witness protection program level, no contact, right? Not everybody can do that, and it does take time to do that. In fact, one of the things that I help people with is breakup detox, which is exactly that. It's a phase. It's a week by week shedding of establishing some boundaries for yourself, dealing with the emotions of the loss of that person, and then creating a new normal for yourself. So I know I'm making jokes and I'm making light of it, but it is true that it does take some time to get into that sense of security within yourself that you can cut all ties.
Yeah.
Now, there are other toxic people, though, beyond exes. There's toxic, crazy parents. There's toxic, crazy cousins. There's toxic, crazy friends. So boundaries, super important, right? So my parents, adoring, but a little crazy. So I have to really be like, okay, I know when I'm going to talk to my mom. I know the 10-minute conversation we're going to have, and I'm out of there.
Are you going to tell her when this airs, by the way?
I might. I mean, we'll see. I'll always send her some stuff. Ma, here's the link. Have fun. Go watch this. I was on a thing on TV or whatever. And she'll be like, I don't understand. Am I watching it on the TV or am I watching it on the phone? I'm so confused. But, you know, I love her. She's the best. And, you know, I have four parents. I'm an only child with 4 parents. So my phone is blowing up quite often during this.
Yeah. With crazy people, as you put it.
With crazy people, but God love them. They're beautiful, crazy people. But, you know, you make your peace with the people, but you navigate your boundaries, right?
Yes.
You're navigating the amount of communication and the kind of communication. Because if I let my mom get at it, it's negativity, negativity, negativity. But I keep the conversation about, Mom, what are you working on in the house? How's the house going? How's the gardening going? Did you do this? Did you work out today? And it's a much more lively, upbeat conversation. And as a coach, like it's and an energy leadership practitioner, it's up to me to hold the energy for other people, right? So if I hear people going down a negative thing, I know how to divert and raise the energy with one question. So I'm very good with that with my parents, thank God.
Yeah, Mindy actually helped me with that personally, dealing with my crazy mother. So I'll say that. That's okay because I'm saying it. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, I'd like to just get into, not to be a downer here, but I just want to get realistic with a couple things. You know, obviously with the coronavirus going out there, there's a lot of, you know, maybe you don't have it in your family, your, you know, situation right now, but, you know, you might have family members that are not with you right now, that might be in other states or whatever, and you know, they're going through a hard time, or people that passed away. How do you get your, how do you deal with your spouse or your loved one that's living with you to console them or to make them feel better, if that's what you want to say? Because it's a tough time for people that can't get to those people, if you know what I mean, or be with them.
Let's start with you, Mindy.
Well, you allow the person to talk about what they're feeling. You allow them to express, like, you know, if they're feeling really upset, you just let them talk. As a spouse, you want to be a good listener. You want to hear what they're saying, and sometimes people just want to be heard. They don't need any advice. They don't need you to try to fix something. You just have to be there as a sounding board for your spouse or your loved one, whoever's there.
Yeah. Do you have any advice,
Yeah,
Lisa?
I totally agree. I echo that, and I'll definitely add in a lot of compassion. This is extreme situations, and it's very, you know, when somebody passes in your family and you can't just hop on a plane and get to a funeral, a ceremony, they're not doing anything. Understand how hard that is and how abnormal that is and how conflicted, a lot of emotions flying around, anger at the system. How can they not let me go see my relative? How can they not, right? Or the weirdness of what they're going to do a ceremony on a Zoom. Like, it's so impersonal. All of these things, validate. Of course you feel that way. I would feel that way too. This is a hard thing for everybody. I can feel for you. All of that. Never make them feel like, oh, get over it. What are you going to do? No, I don't care if this was a third cousin removed. It's because of the severity and the weirdness of these situations. It could set them off. And it's just a matter of being super compassionate for the person that you're sharing space with and sharing a life with.
Yeah.
That's great advice. Miranda, you wanted to talk about with Mindy the children's book or something she's doing?
Yeah. So, Mindy, you have some very exciting news, and we're going to team up with RealConvo and the Blossoms of Floraland, and tell us about what you're doing and what this whole quarantine has inspired you to do, because you started working on yourself too.
Yes, I did. And I got very creative one day. I just decided that I was thinking about the children who are home and how much anxiety they must be having about this situation. So I thought I'd like to write a children's book about the situation. So I was just going online and looking around, and I found a website, and it's called mystorybook.com, and it's free. And you can make your own book. It's got pictures. It's got everything to do it. And so I made this story. It's called The Usual Day. And it's on my Facebook page, Mindy Bisignano, LCSW. It's free, and people can just read it, download it. But what I'm asking is for all those children out there to go on that website and write their own book, because I want them to write about their experiences, because it's like journaling. It's like getting out your feelings when you write a book. And I think it would be a creative project, something to take their mind off what's going on. And I would encourage everybody to get involved in the contest. And there's going to be a prize, a cash prize.
Yeah, talk about the contest. I'm so excited.
It's going to be a cash prize for the best book. And then, there will also be some things that will happen after with, how it proceeds. So I'm really excited about it. And I really encourage the children out there to be creative.
Right. Now, you're also going to give them a book, correct? Your book.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. And then what we're going to do, Alan, we're
Yes.
going to have you back on the show, Mindy, and you're going to read the winner, right? Correct?
Yes.
On the show. And then I'm going to give them one of these Blossoms of Floraland book as well. So I think that was going to be so much fun. We're turning something that can be, seen as pretty negative and turning it into a positive. So I love
that idea.
You're doing that, Mindy. That's awesome.
Okay, great.
So yeah, ladies, thank you so much. I think we covered a lot of ground today, didn't we, Ellen?
We absolutely did. I'd like to get some final thoughts on, again, with the unexpected, we don't know when this is going to end. What do you, again, with relationships, what do you give advice? What kind of advice would you give to people that don't know how much longer they're going to be in this?
Well, first off, I'd like to say that people are very resilient. We have to remember that we're all very resilient and we're going to get through this. And whether it's 2 months, 3 months, there's always an end. This will not last forever. No flu ever lasted forever. So people have to realize that and keep that optimistic attitude that there will be light at the end of the tunnel and that there will be your life back again. So if you keep going back to that and thinking about, well, what do I want to do when this is over? Have a future look, in your mind, you'll cope much better.
Great advice.
Lisa?
I think it's really important for people to remember how powerful they truly are, and that no one can make you think things that you don't really feel in your heart. If you really feel that there's something more to this and you're inspired to seek out what that is, do so.
Yeah.
And if you really feel in your heart, in your deepest heart, that what the people are saying on TV isn't really hitting it right for you, you have every right to explore whatever it is that you want to explore to see what your own answers can come up with, and never putting anybody in a position to believe a certain thing that you believe and imposing your beliefs on someone else. If somebody wants to read a book about some other thing and, let them do it. That's it. It's just a matter of having that freedom and really acknowledging that other person's ability and desire to seek out whatever truth they want to seek out for themselves.
Mindy, real quickly, what's the best way for our listeners and viewers to contact you?
Through my Facebook page or my email. My
Okay.
email is bismind@aol.com. And my Facebook is Mindy C. Bisignano, LCSW.
And real quick, are you seeing people right now, or are you doing telehealth or that?
Yes, I do telehealth right now. I have, and that's something they can access me through Psychology Today, or they can access me by my telephone number, 561-305-7305.
And we have 2 minutes left. The same thing with you, Lisa. Can people contact you right now?
Sure, they can just find me and all of my social media at one spot, which is lovequestcoaching.com. And if they want to find me on Instagram, I'm at Lisa the Love Coach.
Love it. Pun totally intended.
Final words,
You guys are a
Miranda?
little slow to that. You guys are a little slow to that. No, it was like, oh, I got it. Wow. Someone started cocktail hour a little early. No, thank you all for coming on the show. I'm just really grateful. I am so grateful for this experience because I think we're helping a lot of people, and I know you're certainly helping us. Right, Alan? We're getting
Absolutely
free advice. This is awesome.
I know, this is incredible, and we
We
really
just saved
appreciate
your
it.
marriage right now in this one podcast. Just
I
like
know,
that.
you're going to go have a happy hour. You're going to have a 5 o'clock happy hour.
Absolutely. So we really appreciate it. And we just want everybody to know out there that you matter. This will end and everything will be back to normal and it'll be better. So take care.
Yeah.
We really appreciate everyone and have a great day.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
And that's a Real Convo, bringing hope and awareness to those affected by suicide and mental health.